I gotta be honest with you. I thought I thought that I was not going to really do this one. I thought I was just going to do the finale and that would be the end of it. But no. I actually want to go ahead and I want to do this properly because it's Mario 3, right? Granted, I probably won't be talking for very long because it is Mario 3. And I am in need of plugging my phone in, so give me a moment. As I keep talking. Mario 3 is not a game I want to just, say half-ass, because I thought about doing a big addendum thing, and I'm still going to do that. It'll be a Wolfden supplemental that'll be the actual Season 2 finale, and this will just be the last, talk about a single game in a game in a one game in a single video. Kind of fair. So, as I pull my hair away from my ears because I am in desperate need of a haircut. New Year's resolution: I'll get my haircut at next year, which probably means I'll end up re-recording all but like one of the videos I recorded. Well, all but two, because I actually thought I nailed the Final Fantasy X one. But that is neither here nor there. It's also not even going to be that big of a dramatic change. I'm just going to basically shave the beard, and get rid of the bangs and the things. I'm off topic. Let's veer back to Mario 3. One of the big issues I had as I adjust was the positioning of my webcam. I was wondering why that looked so weird. Here, it's because it was off centered in like the actual frame on OBS was off center. But anyways, the point I am making with this is Mario 3 is one of those games where how do I phrase this? Mario 3 is, to me, a crowning example of. Well, there's no nice way to say this. Mario 3 is kind of, I feel, for me personally, was the perfect introduction to video games. I don't know if video games would have become my hobby had it not been for Mario 3. Because Mario 3 was very much well, it kind of shaped what I look for in a game, right? I didn't really. Now, granted, Final Fantasy, as I will be discussing, will be discussing in the future and have been discussing on the streams this year, have been very, 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 very much, I'm there for the stories, right? But the gameplay is still super important as well, right? There's a reason why, for example, I was gushing so much about Final Fantasy VII. One of the advantages of doing this is at the end of the year, by the way, because from my perspective, my streams for 2024 are done. We're done. We actually ended on Crisis Core of all things, which I know seems like a weird end point, but you know, I figured end with Crisis Core this year and then start 2025 fresh with the Final Fantasy VII remake and rebirth. So there you go. But in the interest of total fairness, Mario 3, well, Final Fantasy, was kind of my introduction to good storytelling in video games. Mario 3 was strictly on a gameplay level, on a visceral gameplay level. I, it may be you know what? I've got my Joy Cons over here. So holding a controller in my hand was always something that just kind of naturally fit for me after a point. And so, well, I wasn't ever any good at gaming for a really long time. I would argue I'm still not that great. I'm not a big, pro gamer or anything. The thing is that I'm very casual when it comes to what people consider to be hardcore games. But just holding a controller in my hand always just felt natural, regardless if it's the Joy-Con. I know some people swear by holding the Joy-Cons in one in each hand and gaming that way. I don't know. My mind just cannot wrap itself around abandoning 30 years of holding a controller like this. So there you go. But regardless of the different types of controllers, and I have held quite a few different controllers. The NES controller I don't have around. I honestly could have I almost feel like I should have waited and then got myself like a NES and a Retron for this. But you know, so you hold. Actually, I think I have them in storage. Anyways, regardless. So you're it, you know I've held the Nest, that brick. Some people say that's a crappy controller. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think it's whatever. Uh, the SNES controller. I actually really like the SNES controller. I've always liked the bone shape. I think part of the issue with the NES controller was, it was you had it was a square box, and therefore you could poke your eye with the edges, right? And that would dig into some people's fingers, right? But I have to admit that the type of controller I've always liked is kind of more of, I know this is a Retro Fighters, but this is this kind of controller, right? The more PS1, PS2 style controller. Some people swear by the DualShock 3. I actually am partial to the DualShock 4 myself. I honestly do really enjoy the DualSense. I think the DualSense is a very comfortable controller for holding in my hands. And but I got to be honest with you. Honest with you, I've always been partial to the Xbox controllers, right? Especially the 360 and the Xbone and Series X controllers, as I've always felt those are very, very comfortable in my hand, right? You know, and then some people say, the Wiimote. If I had to pick a controller that was the most overrated, though, oops, that'll go off in a second. If I had to pick the most overrated controller, though, it's the Joy-Con. I'm sorry. I know people swear by by these damn things, but these are the most faulty fucking trash heaps I have ever fucking encountered. Outside of Mad Cats, obviously, this is the most faulty first party set of controllers I have ever fucking encountered. They suck, you know. Ah, and of course, everything's falling off my desk because it's turning my Wii on because this bullshit's got to be bullshit. I know, for example, a friend of mine, Compass 61, swears by the GameCube controller. Right, you hand him the GameCube controller, and he's in heaven. And don't get me wrong, I like the GameCube controller. It's got a nice feel, and the button layout, though it's weird, does actually kind of feel ergonomic, right? Because the A button is the biggest button on the controller, or B button is usually, and the B button's right there, so it's just a slight motion of your thumb to go to the B button or to go to the X or to the Y. And then of course your fingers naturally click on the shoulder buttons, and then the Z button is right there. Right, and then of course, holding it down here with the D pad is actually fine, right? you want my pick for the most overhated controller, well, you'll have to give me a minute because I gotta go digging it out of this container because the box is on it. Give me a second. The most overhated controller in the history of man, and I mean this sincerely, the most overhated controller, as I unwrap it here, is this sucker, the N64 controller. Some people say that this thing is weird and not ergonomically shaped, but I'm sorry. What's so weird about holding it like this, and basically having this part be the controller, or holding it like this so it's like that? The people who say that this is a bad controller are overthinking this controller. And I mean that sincerely. If you hate this controller, you're overthinking this controller. Like straight up, you are overthinking this controller. Okay? I'm sorry, you're overthinking it. Thinking it, right? You know. Now and again, sometimes, and I know some people, complain about, for example, you know, complain, for example, for the Wiimote because of motion controls, right? Well, here's something I'm going to go ahead and say. Motion controls have never bothered me. They've never bugged me. I'm turning this into a big gaming speech, aren't I? Aren't I? Okay, I guess I am basically doing the same thing. But I swear I'll get to Mario 3 eventually. The future Alex will go ahead and put a timestamp when I finally start talking about Mario 3 proper. Proper here, but I mean, it's Mario 3. What do you expect out of me, But, and then of course, people have tried to innovate on control schemes and tried to add gimmicks to different games, and this one's probably my favorite. This is the Starlink portal thingy. By the way, best Star Fox game. Don't at me. I wonder how controversial. Real talk. How controversial of a statement is that? Really? Because honestly, I've always felt like it would probably be one of the most controversial statements, but yet I find it's not that controversial of a statement. So where the hell am I going with all of this? I feel like gaming has evolved. Now, obviously, I'm going to link you the Lore Runner's more comprehensive, talk about the game from a mechanics perspective kind of thing. Because my history with Mario 3 is it was a birthday gift, right? I don't remember that birthday too well, as shit starts dropping all over here. I don't remember that birthday too well, right? Which makes sense, as a magnetized game case is annoys me with the coins on my desk. But but honestly, unwrapping getting that NES for my birthday was a treat. And Mario 3 was, of course, the first game I ever played. Which is funny because it actually started a trend of that lasted until my adult years, where I was always behind the curve gaming wise. I was on the NES when everybody had moved on to the SNES. I was on the SNES when everybody had moved on to the N64 and the PS1. I was on I was gaming on the PS1 when everybody else was gaming on the PS2, right? And then, of course, when I finally got my PS2, the PS3 had been out, and then that trend finally broke 2 years into the PS3's lifespan in a saga I like to call 600 to 0 in 5 minutes, or whatever the hell I called it. It was back when I used to post journal updates on DeviantArt, of all things. And yeah, I'm not an artist, but I was on DeviantArt. That's where my friends were posting things, so that's kind of where I was. There was actually another social media site. I don't remember the name of it right now. Oh, was it Elftown or something like that? Elf Tree or something like that? I don't know. Oh, I completely neglect it. It's whatever at this point for me. But I think the biggest thing for me, the biggest, reason why that sticks with me so much is Mario 3 kind of quickly cemented the legacy of playing it, right? Of playing games as a concept to me, you know? So, Mario 3 was always, was that kind of great, untouchable thing, right? Even back then, I used to compare games to other games, but I was always that dumbass kid that would find a game and be like, nothing can ever top this one, right? I did that with FF7. I did that with Mario 3. I never did that with Mario World. Funny enough, although nobody was ever arguing with me that Mario 3 was a steaming pile of goat shit, and I was never arguing that at either. For the record, Eckert, lest you think I'm about to, be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Although that is an interesting comparison point. Wait, why is it that I say Mario 3 is my favorite Mario game and not Mario World? Well, for starters, I haven't reviewed Mario World. Let's start there. I still am in the. I still haven't reviewed Mario World. Mario World is probably going to be the one I'm going to just do a like a DGAUZ for, because I'm not going to bring it up on my computer because that's going to cause issues. But if I bring it up on my phone, I can go ahead and reveal something for go through talk about the list. You know, I mean, on my list right now, I've got Triangle Strategy labeled as the next one. I might change that to Mario World just for a shorter DGAUZ. Hell, I might even just do a couple of smaller things as just a small little DGAUZ. Because like I might go ahead and do the Bloodstained games, or maybe I'll finally tackle Super Mario Wonder or something. But the funny thing about all of this is, Final Fantasy. But the funny thing is that Super Mario World and Super Mario Brothers 3 were always kind of the companion pieces. I never really thought of them as separate games. Well, they were always the games I enjoy, is what I mean by that. I don't mean like I always thought they were literally the same game. That's ludicrous. That's stupid. Even despite, how many things in Mario World they wanted to do in Mario 3, but the tech just wasn't there yet. Kind of thing. Also, I've actually got a statement that's probably going to be the most controversial of all time. You ready for this? The NES version of Mario 3 is the superior version. Best version. Bar none. Now, obviously, I'm going to let that statement sit for a minute, because if you're going to click away, at that statement, you're going to click away. I am going to explain myself. I know some people swear by the All-Stars version, and I got to be honest with you, my reasoning for preferring the NES version is Audible. Not as in the audiobook company. I mean, like, audio is my reasoning, right? My reasoning is music and sound effects. Now I know some people swear by the All Stars version, but I don't know. For some reason, I just think it worked better. It works better with the Nessus sound font as opposed to the All Stars sound font, which is kind of hilarious in hindsight. Right? Which is actually kind of hilarious in hindsight, you know. I'm actually almost tempted to go ahead and just kind of give you guys an example of what I mean. And if you know what, I'll probably right after hit stop recording, I'm actually going to go ahead and record some footage so that I can use that here, in this video to kind of demonstrate my point.
Choose a game. Here we go. Super Mario. Let's go. Just what I needed. Just what I needed.
because I've always felt like the sound effects and the music of Super Mario Brothers 3 on the NES just kind of had a different feel. I don't know what it is about the All Stars version, but I felt like the sound effects were just kind of a little more off, right? Now, you're probably asking, what about the GBA, Blue Wolf? I know some people are going to want to shoot me for this, but the GBA version is the weakest version. It has the most content, I'll give you that part. But just in terms of like the actual quality of it in itself, no. You know? And obviously I'm not counting re-releases like the All-Stars on Wii port, which is just Mario All-Stars on the Wii. Uh you know, or the NSO releases as different releases because that's just an emulation of the original. Mario 3, but yeah, so there's my big controversial statement. I prefer it on the NES. Also, the NES also has the P-Wing reward, where if you hit start on the end screen, you restart the game with a whole bunch of P-Wings. I have evidence. I proved it. You know, I don't know if I'm going to prove it this time. It all depends on how far through Mario 3 I end up getting and, how much thing, which probably means I'll go ahead and I'll play both. But regardless, the funny thing, though, is Mario 3. Mario 3 represents, to me, gaming as a whole. Straight up. It represents gaming as a whole to me. Because Super Mario Bros. 3 is my favorite Mario game. It is. And it will actually be probably the first time where I pull out the uh, Adventure versus Tamers Wolfism that I've not been able to add to the damn list because, well, it hasn't come up yet. Thanks, Sacred Stones, for creating your own Wolfism, and freaking sidestepping that. But no, in all seriousness, Mario 3 is just kind of one of those games where I've always felt like there's a connection I have with Mario 3 because I feel it is a fantastic game, you know? And I will contest anybody who says it's a bad game. Which, fun fact, I've never heard anybody try to argue that Mario 3 is a bad game. I've heard people say it's overrated. People say it's overblown. But I've never heard somebody try to pull a Chris Griffin and say that it absolutely fucking sucks because it's not fucking 3D graphics Call of Duty fucking bullshit. But let's go ahead and get it. But let's actually go ahead and talk about. Let's go ahead and just talk about the game now that I've. You could basically call the past 25 minutes that I have spent on this as my gaming debut note. So there you go. Which I guess kind of eliminates the whole need for a second part. Now that I'm thinking about it. But anywho, I'm gonna have a big I'm gonna have a big speech each that I'm gonna try and have be like a 5 minute thing. So there you go. Anywho, yeah. Let's start with the fact that this is my favorite soundtrack on the NES. Now, to some, that might not seem like a weird statement because Mario 3 has great music for starters. Koji Kondo for the win. Then again, a lot of NES and SNES games have really good music. I mean, have you heard the Batman? You heard the NES Batman soundtrack? Frickin' basically anything from Konami, anything from Capcom. I could seriously go on. But yeah, I suppose we should go ahead and talk about. Do I want to talk about the worlds now, or do I want to talk about the power ups first? Let's talk about the power ups first. So obviously you've got your standard, mushroom for making you big fire flower for spitting fire at enemies. Uh, but they added some other interesting power ups in this one. Some of which have took forever to come back, and some that, to my know, yeah, and one in particular, to my knowledge, that hasn't come back, which is the frog suit. I remember now. Now, the reason I hesitated was because I had to think about the Hammer Brothers suit. Because I was like, wait a minute, I think the Hammer Brothers suit actually did come back, and I'm pretty sure it did. I don't remember where, so please forgive me. But there it is. But yeah, so yeah, the raccoon slash Tanuki suits, which again took forever to come back. Build up speed and you can fly for a short distance. And if you get the P wing, and I'm assuming that's the power wing, you can fly through the entire stage infinitely, which is really, really good, and is usually my go-to for completing specific stages. The airship fleet stage, specifically the air fleet, the airship fleet stage in Darkland, and Darkland uh, proper level 1. I don't like Darkland level 1, although funny enough, I'm pretty sure I actually went through it somewhat recently, uh, and realized it's not actually that bad of a stage. I would still rather fly over it and just be done, but there you go. Then in World 5, you've got, along with the Tanuki suit, you got Goomba Shoe, which only appears in a couple of stages, which kind of sucks. I actually really like that, the Goomba Shoe one. That took a while to come back, too. Ooh, having, riding around in a shoe. The frog suit, of course, for helping you through water. I absolutely encourage you to go look up the Runaway Guys LP of it, especially Chugga Conroy getting through that one stage with the frog suit, dude, and his companions, Nintendo Capri Sun and Proton John are just like Proton John's just like, oh no, it is actually just saying, oh, because the cheap cheeps are annoying, that's why you're going to lose the frog suit immediately. Then it ends up in his panic. Chugga Conroy ends up getting through the stage easily because the frog suit helps with water, even when you're skidding across, the top of it and not just doing an underwater stage. And he gets it. He loses the frog suit to a fire flower. Then he goes into the pipe. Then he goes to the end of the stage, and then of course, because there was 2 mushroom cards already, he gets the 3rd mushroom card. It's like, holy crap, that was actually impressive. I encourage you to go look up that clip. That clip is awesome. Awesome, and it would be better you look up the actual clip as opposed to just me, giving it to you. I mean, yeah, I'm the jackass who put Proton John's Lex Luthor uh, profile from his Superman 64 review, or review, sorry, Let's Play. Proton John's not a reviewer. Viewer. And then there's other ones like the Anchor, which can stop the airship from moving if you fail the airship stage. Uh, the music box, which puts all the Hammer Brothers to sleep, which I like that tune, but I have to agree with people who say it is the most useless power up in the game. Actually, I would argue that and the anchor are tied for the most useless power up in the game. Um, you know, very situational use of the anchor, and the music box you don't want because the Hammer Brothers give you tangible rewards. I mean, I guess if you suck at the battles with the Hammer Brothers, but even then, you know. Speaking of Hammer Brothers, there's also the Almighty Hammer Brothers suit, as that I briefly mentioned earlier. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That thing is overpowered as fuck. Boos die to it. Who it Thwomps die to it. Who it I think everything except for those disc things, the nuclear waffles as some people call them. You know, those are like the only enemy in the entire game that don't die to the Hammer Brothers suit. That's crazy. I think that would have been a better New Game Plus reward. Or fill the first row with P wings. Fill the second row with Tanuki suits. Fill the third row with Hammer Brothers suits. I don't remember how many there are exactly, but if there's a fourth one, then fill that one with frog suits. That kind of thing. Oh yeah, there's an honest to god inventory on the map screen, so that helps too. And the map screen is actually interesting. It's not as elaborate of a map screen as Super Mario World would have, but then again, I always felt like a map screen should just be select the stage. You don't really need it to be too complicated. But the reason why it's more complicated than just a stage select in Mario 3 is because you can choose your path, right? Which I know a stage select cannot do. See Mega Man for a good example of that. But you get my point, right? And then of course, there's enemies like the sun, in which is not the actual sun. It is an enemy that Bowser sends after you. Come on, guys. You're overthinking it. You guys are overthinking it, and as are the detractors of the N64 controller. Okay, I'll stop. Moving on. Then this was also the first inclusion of the Koopalings. Can I go ahead and just say I fucking hate that Miyamoto said that the Koopalings were not his kids? I feel like that would have been I feel like that would have been intriguing. A single dad able to raise these 8 kids? Think about that for a second. And if you're looking at me weird, like, wait, there are only 7 Koopalings. Bowser Jr., who, by the way, is the most overrated Mario character, bar none. Don't fucking at me. There, I fucking said it. Which is funny because until that little shit stain started gaining popularity, I always thought Peach was the most overrated. Most underrated Mario character has a tie, actually, between 2. Rosalina and Daisy, and gee, I wonder why. Moving on. Oh, and before you go telling me to go to horny jail, Hale, I find it amusing that you assume I don't live there. Anywho, then there's the mini games. I never really much cared for the matching mini game. I do like the memory match. I call it the end card game. Which is just memory match. But you know what? Give me a good memory match game, and I am good to go. Fun stuff. Then there's it. Then there's of course. What else do we got here? I guess that's it. I guess now we can just talk about. We can just go ahead and talk about the 8 worlds. Let's mention the stage play idea. Yeah, and then go from here. No spoiler section for this one, by the way, because it's Mario 3. What the hell am I spoiling with the story? Story. You go to stop the Koopalings, and the only real spoiler thing is the most predictable thing in the world. At the end of World 7, Peach has been kidnapped. Like, that doesn't happen every fucking time. I mean, because Miyamoto is allergic to story. Moving on. I don't know why I had trouble writing down. I think I was going to skip writing down notes about worlds 3, 4, and 5, and then I changed my mind. And I think that's what happened there with my notes. But anyways, so World 1, standard grassland. This was also the game that established the formula, let's say. Which is funny because it actually we established the formula here, but then we break from it in Mario World, and then we go back to it in future Mario games. Kind of funny how that works. But yeah, Grassland, really good opening world. Really enjoy it. A lot of good stuff. Really awesome reward for clearing the world. P-Wing, yeah. World 2, Desert Land. This one actually has a lot of good. There's a lot of good like paths, alternate paths and whatnot. And if you use the hammer on the one spot, you can get a frog suit early, and the third warp whistle, which and of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention do 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 do. This is the Zelda tune. Actually, that's got some interesting story implications now that I think about it. I know people joke about the whole we get of the possibility of us ever getting a Smash Brothers movie, which I know is very unlikely because of how many companies would have to come together to make a Smash Brothers movie. Although GameCube actually hang on, think about this for a second. I know I'm sidetracking again, but hear me out on this one. The game companies all came together for Smash Brothers. You have a main studio doing the movie, doing the Smash Brothers movie, and then you basically license out all of all of the different properties to that main studio who makes the Smash Brothers movie. Then you can have, Mario, Sonic, Zelda, Donkey Kong, all of these characters in the Smash Brothers movie. I personally don't think a Smash Brothers movie would be that great, but then again, I'm also one of those people who thinks, doing a Mario movie, for example, is just kind of eyebrow raising. Excuse me, eyebrow raising. So then you get Water World. I always really liked that one. Also, yes, if I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it, the fortress in World 3 is on an island that looks like Japan, of course. World 4, everybody's favorite, Giant Land. And which pretty much is the big small concept that they would repeat a couple of times. Well, I shouldn't say repeat, but like revisit a couple of times. World 5, the sky. They even called it Skyland in Mario 3. I wonder if Palutena's anywhere around there. Hmm. Hmm. Although that's Sky World, so I guess that's a different thing. World 6, Iceland, the ice world, which everybody seems to despise the ice physics in this one, and I don't know why. The ice physics in this game are not that bad. Also, it has one of the most amazingly awesome uh, level clearing, level designs in the entire thing. The one you have to fly up with a thing to get rid of the munchers. That was cool. World 7 is, of course, the pipe maze, which. You know what's funny? World 7 is my least favorite. Always has been. I don't know. I admit part of it is just I don't like a lot of the stages in it. I feel like it has the most stages that I just look at and go, what the fuck? And then of course Darkland is which was kind of awesome because it was like literally 4 map screens. No, seriously, think about it for a second. Darkland has the initial where you go up against the tank, the tank brigade, and then the sea fleet. Then you go through those stages with the hands that pull you down, occasionally pull you down, which ends with the airship fleet. Then you deal with a couple of normal stages, then and the final fortress, and then you deal with Bowser's final last line of defense, his final tank brigade, and then you get to his castle, and then you go and fight him. And what is awesome, which is the best, fight him with the best song of the game, and or in my opinion, one of the best Bowser fights we have ever had in the series. Not to say that there's too many bad Bowser fights, in my opinion. And I would argue that I can count on one hand how many Bowser fights I feel are lackluster or disappointing, and it's literally just 3, in my opinion, that aren't very good. One is the obvious one, Galaxy 2, because as it's stupidly hard to fail that one. One is Sticker Star because I saw what that one entails, and that's more Sticker Stars failing than anything. Let's be blunt, though. And of course, the original because it's the same fight over and over and over again. It's just later on he starts throwing hammers at you. And then you rescue Peach and you're done. Which is funny because a lot of the presentation of the stages actually lends itself to this being a stage play. So I know now. Okay, trying to talk as I pseudo joked earlier about Miyamoto being allergic to story. There is one way that Bowser constantly being the villain makes sense. It's a PR move. Think about this for a second. The people start getting, the Toads or whatever start saying, why do we need leadership? Why do we need heroes? Blah 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 blah. And they start, to turn on the Mario Brothers every so often. So when that starts happening, when Bowser catches wind of this, all right, time for a stunt. Stomp, 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 stomp. Kidnap Peach. Stomp, 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 stomp. Mario comes. Boof! Uppercuts me in the face. Peach is saved. The Toads are like, oh wait, we need heroes. Problem solved. Now, you might be tempted to ask, to think, oh, that's pretty unrealistic, Blue Wolf. All I'm going to say is I don't talk real world politics for a reason and leave it at that. Which I know some people, the more cynical amongst us would look at that and go, well, that's manipulation right there, Blue Wolf. Yeah, but that's Bowser basically putting on a show to remind people, yeah, yeah, by the way, yeah, you do need heroes, you know. And then of course, you know, if we want to tie in the Mario and Luigi series and Mario RPG, well, then you've got you know enemies like Fawful and Calculetta? Is that her name? Name Fawful's queen, the queen Fawful answers to, who, you know, and I guess there's the Shadow Queen from the Paper Mario's. If we want to tie in the Paper Mario stuff, of Dimentio from Super Paper Mario, and so on and so forth. But that's it. That's Mario 3. I gotta be honest with you, right here at the end, and this. Now, there's one thing I want to talk about. So if you're only here for Mario 3, thanks for tuning in. Because now, now we're at the end. Season 2 of Wolf's Den is effectively going to be the penultimate time where I talk, where I do, you know, do this kind of format for games. Okay. The format going forward is going to have this notebook, right? Which is actually kind of fitting because at the time I'm recording this, is you know, so that's how thick it is, you know, for the whole thing. This is what I've got left of. This is what I've got left for you know for that notebook. And as you can see, you know the cover's kind of gotten a bit of taken a bit of a beating too because I've used it so much, and that makes perfect sense. Sense, right? Because I record a lot of notes, you know, and obviously I'm going to be hanging on to this for sentimental value. You know, this thing started with Sky One all the way back at the beginning of it, all the way back at the beginning of the thing, and then of course you know the notes for Sky Two and that. Let's see. Hey, so Sky One and uh, had about 2 pages of notes. Sky Two had about the same. Sky 3 is really faded. Oof, and that was 2 pages. Cold Steel 1, and although that's because there was some moisture that pissed me off. Uh, I know Cold Steel 1 was like 7 pages. Then there was. Uh, then there was Cold Steel 2. Ew. Oh, there's my character specific notes. Then there's Cold Steel 2. Ew, and whatnot. You know, which obviously that was the original run of Cold Steel 2, which is still up on my channel. Fun fact. Fun fact. I may or may not create a second channel and then it'll be on that one. But yeah. Then there's of course Valkyria Chronicles, which I think looks like it was only 2 pages? 3 pages. Pages of notes for VC1. Then good old Fire Emblem Warriors 1, which was 2 pages. Pages. Then I did Awakening, which looks like was, let's see, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9 pages of notes. Wow. I had a lot of notes about Awakening. Granted, that was also because I was using it to do the whole pluses and minuses reviewing system. Then there was, of course, Fire Emblem Three Houses, which looks like 1, 2, 7 pages of notes. Sacred Stones, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 pages of notes. Halo Reach which was half a page of notes. Warriors 3 Hopes, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 pages of notes. Then there was the Pixel Remaster, which was about a page, or 2.5 pages. 5's Pixel Remaster, which is 1, 2, 3, 3. 6's Pixel Remaster. Again, original run. And original run for all of these, I should mention that. Then 6 was 1, 2, 3. 3 pages of notes. So not a lot with that one. Then you got your scrapped ones. I got 2 pages of notes into Blue Dragon before I scrapped it. SAO. Fatal Bullet. It's Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. Which I kind of did a soft rage quit because I was just so bored of the game. It was just done. And then FF13, the original rant view of FF13. 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of notes. Then Aria of Sorrow, which should be... Oh, there we go. About a page of notes for Aria. Then looks like about a page for Rondo. Then looks like about a page for her Soten. Castlevania Rondo of Blood, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. If you're not used to those acronyms, looks like about 2 pages for the original RE2. Xenogears was about 6.5 pages of notes. Legend of Dragoon was about 5. Borderlands 2, yeah, I reviewed Borderlands 2. Hoon did a video on it. Looks like that one was about 4 pages of notes. Then we get into the ones that actually started this season. Let's see. So Cyber Sleuth was 1, 2, 1.5 pages of notes. Then Trails from Zero was the next one because I didn't need this is when we got into Return to Trails because I didn't. So the ones that I did were Trails from Zero, which was, let's see, that's 1.5. That's about 2 pages of notes there. Azure was 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 pages. I was experiencing burnout and reverie? Weird. Just saw my note on that. And then Cold Steel 3, 2, 4, 6.5 for that one. Batman was about half a page of notes. I've actually got a thing I need to check, so please bear with me. Alright, that's a little weird, but okay. Sorry, a work thing. I did need to check. So yeah, about a half a page of notes for Batman. Mario 1 was like meh, and then Mario 3 was, of course, just a half a page. And then obviously keeps going. So then there's Cold Steel 4, which was 2, 4, 6, 8. No. 6.5 pages of notes. Then Reverie was 3, 4.5 pages of notes. Then Blazing Blade, which I think was 2. Yep. Engage, which was 3. Nope, 2. I'm wrong. Final Fantasy 2 is 1 page of notes, as is FF3. Then there was the After Years, which was 3 pages of notes, I think. Oh, no. I'm wrong. 1.5 pages of notes, and then 1.5 pages of notes for FF8. FF9 was 2.5. Technically 2. Ooh. And then FF10 was about 2.5. Then 10.2 was about a page. Tales of Arise was about 2.5. FF12, 3. Nexomon 1 was a page. Nexomon an Extinction was a page, about a page, a page, roughly. Lightning Returns was about a page and a half. Daybreak, oh geez, Daybreak should be quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4? Hang on. Yeah, 4.5. Have pages of notes, so less than I was thinking. Unicorn Overlord was a page. Type 0 was a page. Advanced Wars was a page. FF15 was 2 pages, including the DLC. Monster Hunter Stories 1 looks like about a page. Stranger of Paradise was a page. Dirge of Cerberus was a page. And Crisis Core was a page. And that brings us up to date. So why did I do all that self-indulgent bullcrap? I'm probably going to edit a bunch of that out. Oh, by the way. Hey, like all the silence portions of that, I'll edit out. Okay, I'm not gonna make you sit there through all the page flipping, but especially not the checking the work thing. No, of course not. So why did I do that self-indulgent bullcrap? Well, 2 reasons. One, I'm a pointless little nobody cares about anyway, and 2, because I want to get across a point. Gaming to me, the reason I am able to write so many notes and record so many hours of footage of me just sitting in front of this webcam yapping, hipping for however long per game, is for a very simple reason. I love gaming. I always have. It is a hobby that I have actually had some derision thrown at me, right? I have literally been told that gaming will get me nowhere. Now, if you're wondering why I'm pausing and just kind of looking at the looking at the camera, well, I wasn't looking at the camera, so I apologize. But if you're wondering why I'm just kind of sitting there and like stewing on that, it's because, if you'll forgive the self-indulgence for a moment, how many games have I played that people have paid me to play? Let's see. Hey, let's do a quick scout of that. So, Advanced Wars 1 plus 2, I would argue, is 2 games. Unicorn Overlord, is 3. Nexomon and Nexomon Extinction is 4 and 5. And then Tales of Arise is 6. And can't forget Monster Hunter Stories 1, which is 7. And if you will forgive the second divergence real quick. Oh, it won't let me do that because because my phone doesn't have the spreadsheet version. One moment. just one moment. Actually, what am I thinking? There is actually one I can look at. Damn it, Alex, quit being dumb. All right, well, let's take a look, shall we? Let's see how many are now funded that people are getting me to cover. Well, I said 7, right? Well, we can throw that immediately up to 11 with the .hack GU collection. Then there's Diofield Chronicles, which puts us up to 12. Monster Hunter Stories 2, which puts us up to 13. Alan Wake Remastered, which puts us up to 14. And I'm sure BJ will, and then we will add Elden Ring Control and Ys 10 Nordics to that list. What did I say that was? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 games that people are paying me to play. Gaming won't get me anywhere, my fucking ass. Yes. You know what it gets me? A lack of a $10,000 psychiatrist bill. Now, don't misunderstand my words. I'm not saying gaming isn't, a replacement for therapy, but I would argue I am not in need of therapy because I have an outlet to vent my frustrations out, right? Hey, the poor monsters in Final Fantasy VII have been getting just trashed constantly. Insert whatever enemies here, the Risen in Fire Emblem Awakening. I could even honestly keep going, but I think you get my point. Final Fantasy, yeah, not just Final Fantasy, but gaming as a whole is one that I will never stop loving, never stop enjoying, never stop up. I will never stop enjoying gaming. Gaming is a hobby for me, and streaming as is streaming. And I will not give up either of those things. And I hope you never do either. I hope any person watching this video that enjoys playing video games never stops playing video games. Even if it's just COD. But I know I, said COD. It kind of implied COD was crap earlier, but that's a personal opinion. That doesn't mean you enjoying COD is crap. And anybody who tells you that needs to be shot. Because you enjoying COD? It's whatever. You do you. As long as you're not one of the stereotypical typical fucking 10-year-olds on Xbox Live, I think the biggest thing for me is that gaming for me has always been one of those things that for me I always enjoyed and I will continue to enjoy because I cannot and will not accept the idea that this hobby is trash. I don't care who tells me that. I will never stop gaming, and I hope you do too. And I hope you continue to game as well. I didn't intend for this to be another stamp on why I have the sign off I do, but it just kind of naturally flowed into that, didn't it? I'm actually. This is hitting me a little bit. God damn it. I swear I did not go to make a moving speech, but. Ah. Meh. But this is why I like the lore walker community, because I enjoy being a lore walker, and it's why I always say with such pride. Say that sign off with such pride. Speaking of, this is the end of season 2 of Wolf's Den. The next set of full Wolf's Den videos will, of course, be the Final Fantasy Marathon, and yeah, I'll probably have another speech at the end of that one, which will be at the end of the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth video. But until then, I'm not done yet. After all, I've got the Yu-Gi-Oh videos keeping on going. I actually just finished editing a whole swath of those, so I'm good until March on that front. But regardless, I am Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers, and I am signing out. Pledging to game forever, and hoping that you will do so as well. Until next time, this is Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers signing out. Have a good one. Game on.